Hey everyone, it's Carri and welcome back to another video. If you guys don't know me, my name is Carri. I run Traveling Pony Studios, which is a small crochet business that I created last year to help pay for my horse's medical expenses. I do all types of YouTube videos ranging from everything from like crochet with me, what I crocheted in a week, and of course what this video today is going to be is a market overview. I did a market this past Saturday on the 17th of August. It ran from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is probably one of the more expensive markets that I do. The vending fee for the market is $220 for one day. There were a few differences this market compared to the other markets I've done at the same location under the same organizers. I did my first one with them last November, which was my first ever big market, and as well I did one there, I think it was April of this year, their spring market, and even though it's August, they had their fall market already. So that's the one I just recently did. Before I go over my numbers and what exactly sold, a lot sold. I have a lot of orders to go over, so bear with me as we go through all of them. But there was a big difference between this market and the other two that I've done. This market actually takes place at the same location where there is a store that actually carries my own crochet items. I was able to get a spot in front of the store that I crochet for. That store is actually on like the main street. The other two times I've done this market, I have been at the way end and at the back, kind of where you don't get the same amount of traffic. It's kind of like a hit or miss type of situation. So this market, I definitely had a much better spot. With that being said, I always like to give a forewarning to anyone who is interested in doing markets and crocheting. I think that crochet is very popular nowadays, especially from everything that I've heard from people just being at markets. So just know the likelihood of you ever being the only crochet person is pretty slim. I think this market had a little bit over 100 vendors, I believe, or about that mark, and I believe there were 4 crochet people there. There could have been 1 or more, can't remember off the top of my head, but I do believe there was at least 4. And I always seem to have pretty decent luck with getting put next to a crochet person. The last market I did, actually my neighbor did crochet and we both did amigurumi. And this market, luckily, I think it was like 4 tents down was a crochet person, and then I think the other crochet people, they had a little bit more spaced out. Honestly, I did not leave my table much at all, so I'm not really certain about where the location of the others were. I just know that I had one person that was pretty much like 4 spots down, and I did some of the same patterns as them. So going forward into the next market, I will be looking at changing some of my patterns because I don't know, one of my biggest pet peeves is having anybody come up to me and be like, oh, well, this person's selling the exact same item, but they're selling it for this price. Why are you selling it at that price? And it drives me bonkers. So I will be looking at changing some of my items to try and find some patterns that are not so normal or done by big creators. I think one of the contributing factors to some of the success that I had in this market was because of the fact that I was in a different location per normal, because this market actually was very comparable to the winter market that I did last year, and that was before Christmas. So this is probably, I guess technically would be my 3rd best market that I've done. Just behind my Woodstock May market is first, my winter market at this location is 2nd, and then this one would be 3rd, but honestly not by that much. They were pretty close to one another. But without further ado, I'm going to go over my notes on my phone that basically is just going to tell you guys the orders. The same thing that we always do with these fun little videos. I did a better job this market at posting a little bit more on Facebook and Instagram. I actually really wanted to make a catalog, but it was just not going to happen. And then by the time I actually sat down and counted how many different items and different patterns I bring to the market, it was going to be crazy. I do so much variety and I'm constantly adding more variety that there's just no way that catalog would have never happened. So I gave up on that, but I did do a little bit better job about like posting, letting people know how much stock I had of certain items, also letting people know what new items were coming. That's definitely something I'm trying to do a little bit more because I do have a lot of repeat customers, especially at this location. I get a lot of repeat customers. So I tried to do that. So I had a lot of people who actually showed up even before the market or like right when the market started that were repeat customers of mine, so they could get the items that they wanted before the day progressed, which ended up working out because I sold out of some items really quick. And you're gonna see as I actually read through the list and everything, joy of markets, because certain items that I have sold out at the last couple markets barely moved. An example of that would be the loaf cats. I did not sell that many loaf cats, I think maybe 2, and the last couple markets I've sold out. Now granted, with this being said, due to the fact that there were so many crocheters, I honestly would not be surprised if they also had loaf cats, given just the popularity of the pattern. That's definitely something I will be considering going forward if I will continue to do them, just because once a market gets super saturated, I just drop the pattern and find something else to replace it. So let's start off with this. So to begin with this thing, I sold an elephant. This is the Crochet Grove pattern. I've had this elephant for a very long time. I've been wanting to get rid of it. I sold that elephant for $50 to start off the morning. I think that was at probably like 9:15, 9:30, and the market started at 10. I sold my brown and white flower crown cow. This is by my own pattern that I created, and I sold that one for $35. I sold a chick, the little yellow ones, for $18. I sold a lavender cow, which is also same thing, my own pattern, for $35. Then to a repeat customer, I sold 2 bees. These were the new fuzzy bees that I premiered on my Instagram and Facebook. A little baby alien and then a dragon for $69 together. Like I said, this was a repeat customer. I think she came at like 9:59. She knows that once the market starts, it's really difficult for me, and they like an item, the possibility is that everyone else is gonna like something, so you have to come early and you have to come fast. After that, I sold another turtle and I sold a dragon, and if I'm not mistaken, this was actually their friend that they had brought along, and so both of these items were baby safe because I remember they had 2 little kids, so I sold them together for $50. I sold my cream and gold unicorn for $35, and then after that I sold a koala for $20, and this was a different pattern. I'm honestly blanking on who even made this pattern, but it was kind of like small medium size plushie. I'd only made one of them, and honestly I've just been trying to get rid of it because it's not something like I particularly want to do all the time, so I did sell it for $20. I sold 2 squids, and then I sold a mushroom for $48. And as I remember, these were 2 of my ice green squids. I only had brought 2, and one of them I had forgotten to put blush on, and then the other one I had put blush on, and these 2 boys wanted them, so they grabbed the one without blush first, and I went through my boxes, picked the other one up, and had blush, and the little boy didn't want it. And so what I ended up doing was, because it's pretty straightforward, I ended up cutting the blush and then working it out and pulling it out, and then gave it to the little boy so they both could have identical squids and none had blush. After that, I sold one of my little mallards for $18. I sold a little panda for $15. I sold a T-Rex, and I think this was a blue and yellow T-Rex for $25, which I've not sold a T-Rex in a very long time, but I sold more than I have at this market on that item than I probably have for the whole year. I sold another little mallard for $18. I sold a possum for $12. I sold my last unicorn, that was the gold one, for $35. I had made 2 colorways, a gold one with pink and purple mane, and then I had made the white ones with silver, and then the mane was light blue and blue. I didn't sell any of the blue ones, which is just the joy of markets because that's the color I've been selling out of, but I didn't sell any, and then I sold out of all the other ones. So after that, I sold a loaf cat for $25. I sold a purple penguin for $20, which I believe this was the only penguin I sold this market. I sold my single purple bunny that I have with me for $35. I sold the dark blue whale for $12. I sold a little hippo, and I believe this was a purple hippo, for $12. I sold a green turtle for $20, and then a purple turtle for $20. If you guys have been watching my videos, then you'll know that I actually changed my turtles to having only 4 colorways. I used to do a lot of random ones. So I'm primarily only doing purple, pink, and then I have a blue and green, and then I just have a green turtle. That's the only 4 I'm gonna offer, and then hopefully once my sunflower turtle is gone, I probably will only do special request turtles if I get like a custom order or something. I sold a sloth, a skunk, and a witch cat for $50. The sloth was a new pattern that I had brought this weekend. The skunk I've had for a very long time, and the witch cat was from last Halloween, so I was very happy to get it gone. I sold another possum for $12. I sold an alligator, loaf cat, and then a rooster for 73 together. Then I sold a purple T-Rex and a little leggy frog, and I believe from what I'm reading, this is actually one of the T-Rexes that I had brought along because I had some different dinosaur styles with me this market. I sold my navy hammerhead shark for 30. I sold my large sunflower cow for 50. I've had this sunflower cow for a very long time, and this was actually another repeat buyer who I think has bought like 6 or 7 things from me. This was one of the few large cows that I actually have left with me. I'm really undecided if I'm gonna continue to do large cows. They just take more time, and I have more difficulty selling them than the mini cows because the mini cows are of course cheaper than the large cows, so I'm always iffy on it. I think if I do it, I'll just have like 1 or 2 large cows of each style and then just mainly focus on mini cows, because overall, in my experience, I sell a lot more mini cows than I have ever sold large cows. After that, I sold a chick for 18, and then I sold 2 dragons for 60 together, and I think this was the purple and then the lime green dragon. I brought 5 dragons in total and came back with 1, which was my orange and yellow dragon. I sold my monkey, which is just from my own pattern, the Milo the monkey one, for 35. I sold another T-Rex for 25. I sold 2 hippos for 24. I sold a possum for 12. I sold a mallard for 18. Triceratops for 15. Then I sold one of my little snugglers, which was the giraffe one that I did for a pattern test, I think a month or 2 back. I sold that one for 50. Pretty much my snugglers I usually price between like the 40 to 60 range, depending on how difficult they are. I sold, I think it was a tan dog for 25, another loaf cat for 25. I sold, I think this one was a Java dog, or it was either terracotta. It was one of those 2 colors for 25. I sold 2 frogs for 24. I sold a possum and then a loaf cat for 37. I sold one of my little pop-up mushrooms and an axolotl for 30. I sold a squid and a cat for 43. I believe the squid was my light blue squid because I came back with 2 and I went with 3. I sold an axolotl for 18. I sold a pink rose for 12, which is so funny because it was this little girl. She must have been like 6 years old. She was dead set on getting a flower. And this is not the first time that's happened to me. When I was starting out, I vaguely remember doing a market and I had a full rose bouquet, right? It's one of the first bouquets that I'd ever done. So it had like all the wrapping and all this stuff. And I just remember this little girl was obsessed with the bouquet. Out of everything else on my table, all of the plushies, she was in tears over the bouquet and she had to have that bouquet. So I just found it very funny that this other little girl that probably was like 6 or 7 years old was just dead set on getting flowers. Like she was going back and forth between the lavender, the rose, and then the pink rose, and then we finally settled on the pink rose. It was very funny to me. And after that, I sold a rooster for 18. I sold an axolotl, a mermaid, and I believe this was the pink mermaid, a fluffy bee, and a turtle for 88. I sold one of the mini sloths for 15. This was actually to my neighbor who was next to me. She'd been eyeing them, and I had only brought like 2 or 3 with me to the market, so she got one. And then I sold a turtle for 20. I sold a capybara for 18. This was actually the first capybara I've sold that's the new pattern, so I've been trying to test it out. So I did sell one, but I think I had so much stuff that the capybaras were kind of being like overlooked with all the other vibrant colors. So I think I just need to figure out a better way to display those. Then I sold a single lavender for 8. I sold a purple hippo for 12. I sold one of my little baby flamingos for 25. I sold a duck with a floaty for 50, and this was to, I believe, a friend of mine. And then I sold a lavender, a bee, and a duck for 70, and this was one of the big ducks with the floaty. So I sold 2 ducks with floaties this past weekend, so I have 1 more left, and it's the yellow one. I sold a cream and a yellow one. I sold a sakura cow, a lavender, flower thing, whatever, and a stingray for 55. I sold a mallard for 18 and then actually got a $2 tip from this little girl. I was like, oh my gosh, this is sweet. And then I sold a stingray and an axolotl for 38. I sold a carnation for 18. I sold a ladybug and a triceratops for 30. The ladybug was a new addition for this market too. I had brought two, so I sold one of them. I sold one of my mini pandas for 15, an axolotl for 18. I sold a bee and then the little alien for 27. I sold another triceratops for 15. I sold my sunflower turtle. All done with any sunflower things. I've had those things since I started crocheting, so I'm so happy to get them gone for 25. And then my last purchase of the night was a pink, like it was a hot pink and with like normal pink color stripes, T-Rex. Overall, that's pretty much everything that I sold. I kind of vaguely know the number of profit that I made. It's just a vague number, but I essentially made around $2,300 at this market. On my square, I had about 51 orders and the average sale price per order was about $29. Overall, it was a great weekend. I had a lot of fun. I was so happy that the weather held off because it poured on me in the morning when I was letting my horses outside, and I was so worried that I was gonna leave and then it was gonna start raining and I wasn't gonna be here for my horses and then all my setup stuff would get ruined. But luckily the rain held off until I think about 6 o'clock, so I was able to get home, unpack everything, run over to the barn, take care of the horses, and then the storms came through. So I am looking forward to, I wouldn't say a slower time, but I'm taking next month off from markets and focusing on other things that you guys will hear about in the vlog video for this market. And I'm not gonna say anything, but if you guys want to know what's happening, I guess watch the vlog. And that's gonna go over everything that I am doing for the rest of this month and then next month. And then my next market will be October 5th. I believe it is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but it is, I think, called the Crabapple Fest. It is in Alpharetta. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then I probably will have one more market, depending on how everything is going with the stores. And that would be, I think, November 22nd. And that would essentially be my last market of the year. I am not doing a December market. Then I am undecided how next year is going to play out for markets. I'll still do markets, but just at a much smaller rate and only markets that I really, really want to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are interested in any of the patterns I use, I always have my link in the description that you guys can look through. And hopefully this video gave you some inspiration as to what you should maybe price your own items at. But always just know, don't ever compare yourself to other people. I have had many, many, many markets that have been very bad. It's just on occasion you get a good one and you give yourself a pat on the back and then you go, okay, now I gotta work for the next one. So that's what I'm doing. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!